Hey everyone, Genome here, catch you with my next Marvel Strike Force video. In today's video, I want to talk about gold and answer the question, do we need more of it? Alright, so the knee-jerk reaction is yes, but does that actually line up with the facts? Let's just say this right now. Yes, it does. We need more gold. We need a serious revamp of the gold orbs. We're still pulling numbers that really didn't sustain as well back at launch, let alone what it's taking now with the new character level caps and everything else that's going on. And Scopely is a bit disingenuous about how much gold we have to spend today. So, on average, if you do everything you're supposed to do every day, you make a little over, like, I think it's 1.2 million or something like a day. If you're raiding, I think you get like an extra gold orb, maybe a little bit more than that for fragments. So, let's just say, for sake of argument, you're making about 1.4 per day if you average out the orbs at around, I think, 150k, I think is about the average. Well, even 200k, but let's just say like 1.4 million gold. Sounds like a lot, right? And it's a decent amount for free. But is it enough? Well, you got a lot of problems with that. First off, the roster is enormous compared to what it used to be. Huge amount of characters. I mean, we'll take the favorites off here real quick. These are just examples. I set up ahead of time here. I mean, we have a lot of characters to build and work on, and you need a lot of gold for every single one of them. Every ability, every piece of gear outside of the very first tier is going to cost you gold. And as you can imagine, this adds up really, really, really fast, and it limits a lot of agency for the player to work on characters that they would really like to work on if they're not worried about chasing the meta, right? Unfortunately, if you want to chase the meta, or the meta, as I use my quotation, air quotes here, you can't. You just cannot work on either bad characters or most legacy characters that aren't reworked or an integral part of some team. You just can't. So you're taking tons of agency away right there. This affects newer players more, I'd imagine, because once again, they're jumping into some pretty deep waters where there's probably actually more than double the characters that this thing launched with, right? So they have a ton of choices to go through, and if they don't research it, they can get themselves in trouble with gold resources fast, but that's not really the scope of this. The scope is this gold. And can you have a lot more fun in this game if you had some more gold? And yes, you could, because right now, you see before you several examples of characters that I would like to bring up. Right now, I have two characters in this game that are level 85. Dr. Doom and Dagger. Dagger was kind of a preemptive thing, but I do use her every single day in a couple different game modes, so it wasn't a wasted. I pulled good red stars. Of course, I don't have the L stars to fill it out. That's a whole nother video right there. And red stars has a lot to do with if you spend gold on a character or not, and yellow and red. But anyway, even beside all that, let's take a look at some numbers. So we said, 1.4, and I'll save the graphs and all that for Boylan. He's much better with I could get an Excel sheet together, whatever, but this is kind of impromptu. Let's take a look at some of the costs associated with just leveling a character. This doesn't include any gearing or ranking ups, nothing like that. So to take a character from 80 to 85... it costs a little over 2 million. Yeah, 2.2 million. So right now, you're probably saying, well, that's a day and a half of doing your daily stuff. In a vacuum, that's true. But as we're about to see, that's not really the case. Okay, so next up, that's from 80 to 85. So that's the new level cap. Remember the much ballyhooed extra money that Cerebro said we're going to get every day, or extra gold? Yeah, well, he didn't mention at the same time that the level cap was increasing 85, of course. And we all know that's costing a lot more. But anyway, so next, let's go down to 75 and above. So from 75 to 85, now we're talking 4.4. So once again, 3 days and some change of gold, right? You're thinking, okay, all right, well, let's get a little more up there, but still probably pretty bearable. Oops. So let's go to 70. I'm using Elena because I have a 7 red pull on her, for example. Okay, 6.3. Now we're getting up there a little bit more, so, 5 days, give or take, of daily stuff. All right, now you're committing about a week's worth of resources to one character. All right, who we got next? We got 65, yes. And now we're getting down to more marginal character. Like, that was marginal. Last couple of characters have been marginal, just examples. But, all right, 65 to 85. Now we're talking 20 levels. All right, 8 million. Now we're getting up there. Now we're talking a solid week of dedicating every bit of gold you make every single day to this character. Once again, that's excluding everything else other than just leveling. Not gear, nothing else. And finally, we're taking a newer character who, actually, I wouldn't mind working on her because I like the Uncanny X-Men. I love Psylocke and Beast working together. I did a video on that a long time ago. Fun stuff. I would like to play around with it in raids, just for fun. I know they're not as good as the X-Men, but whatever. So, you got a brand new character you just unlocked. And this could be, any good or old character, doesn't really matter. And you want to go 1 to 85. How much you got to spend? 10 million gold. Doesn't include your training mats either. That's a whole another can of worms. So I got plenty of those because I can't afford to level everybody. So 10 million. So now, once again, probably about, I don't know, if you say just maybe 8 days, 9 days of giving every bit of gold you make every day into this character, and that includes maybe a good gold pool, right? So, all that being said, it sounds like it's fine, right? Okay, well, so what? It takes a week and you level a character to max level. That's fine. No big deal. Who cares? Right? We're talking like almost 200 characters in this game now, I think. Who can do that? If you're just starting out, you can't do that. You can level one character a week. I mean, you can't even level a quarter of the roster by the end of the year, right? So, is that fun? Is that giving players agency? Yes, you can do a bunch of middling stuff, and if you look at like a lot of rosters that are older, kind of like mine, or not intelligently built, also like mine, you'll see lots of these mid-range characters, from when you were starting out and building more wide than you should. And that's okay. I mean, you can have some more attack teams that are kind of middling, depending on the kind of alliance you're in. But you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a ton of these little orange bars right here, which means you can't even rank the character up if you have the stars, but you can't afford to spend the gold to even give him that other star level to make him even a little bit more useful. Or just to get rid of that stupid orange bar. Can't do it. It's absolutely horrendous. The level, this is definitely catering much more to people who are endgame players. The fact that you got to build your roster over years and years and years. This is a hero collector game at its core. Well, technically it's a virtual slot machine at its core, but this is a hero collector game at its core, and this game actively punishes you for collecting a lot of characters. It forces you into severe micromanagement resources, which is fine on itself. The problem is we have too many things to dump resources in and not enough resources. Once again, artificial scarcity. It's on purpose. They want to make money. But, that's another thing that helps suck the joy out of this game sometimes. And you got all these characters that you would love to bring up to max level just to see them operate. Most of these characters are so far out of the meta now, it's not even funny. But, I mean, I'd like to put, 85 on Adam Warlock just for that little extra oomph. Doc Ock, whatever. Icarus is doing what he needs to do at 82, but I use him every day in Arena. I'll put him at 85 eventually, but it's not really important because you basically get to where the characters do just enough, and then you usually stop on them, so you have enough resources to work on the next new shiny thing that's out there. And I think that's a really, really bad model, and it could be so much more fun if we just got some more gold. Because, as I was saying all the way back earlier, yes, maybe you get 1.2 million, or maybe you say 1.4 million if you include the gold orb, every single day for just doing what you do every day, and it sounds like a pretty good deal. And it is, at least they give us that much, I guess, but the fact is, you are not just spending that 1.4 on leveling a character. If that was the case, most, I'd say, character or players that started like in the last 2 years ago would be fine, right? We could keep up with it and still get all the relevant tunes we wanted to up to their max level without sweating it too much, right? But every day, you have got to buy stuff in this store. Except my thing just refreshed. And there's a lot to buy. And guess what? It is deceptively expensive and really, really, really hinders your actual leveling of the character a lot of times. Because not only are we having to buy the newest teal gear out of the store a lot, if you ever want to hope to get enough gear to start actually working on DD5 in the next year tier level, you're buying tons of that every day. you're probably buying 14s and 13s in here. Every time I see a 13 in here that's even remotely like usable for meta characters, or even when their time has passed and they stop, like my asthma right now, I only have 2 characters really need it. I'm not going to put it on them right now, but in the future it may get used again. I still buy it up. 200, because you've got to be ready for the next wave, the next team, the next set of characters that comes at you. They love to do it all, they clump it all at once. Either got like a Bio Rush or the last one, or, the Miasma Rush that we had there was pretty bad. Now we got Oz formula with the new Web Warriors. So you're buying 13s, you're buying 14s, you're buying 15s every single day, multiple times a day.
It sucks!
So how much gold do you have left over after doing that? I say, has to say, unless you're just not buying the stuff, 3/4 of your currency is going into that. So that's leaving you like a grand total of what? 400k to level a toon? How much do you get out of 400k? Let's see. Let's take 80 here. Carnage. Does it get you 1 level? Less than 1 level. Let's take some out. So we're talking like, well, you get the point. But let's just say on the nice side, they get 1 level a day. Say the rest of your roster is at 80. Just say it, just for fun's sake. How long would that take? 5 days per character times what? 200. We need some gold bad. And let's just go ahead for fun. Watch me pull a legendary or something. Let's just pull a couple gold orbs for fun and see where we're at. No seed theory here, I'm sorry. Let's just pull 4. Man, I like even numbers, right? Oh, there we go. We did all right. So we got, let's get the calculator going here. Clear. Just give me 1 moment. So we got, plus 80k. Okay, collect. Okay, there's a regular one that you usually get. So we got 160k. Now, remember, this is more gold orbs than you normally get a day. You don't get 4. Okay. Oh, look, we got a lesser one than that one. So we got 150k. Okay, and 1 more. I know it's a small sample size, whatever. Oh, hey, another one that's all green. And we're back once again to 160k. So I'll go ahead and tabulate right here. If you'll let me draw this over here. There we go. So there's our numbers. What do we come up with? So less than 700k. So we're talking out of 4 gold orbs, you've gotten basically on a character that's, say, above level 70. You've got a level and a half. Out of 4 gold orbs, you're earning like 1 of these and some change a day if you're doing your Greeks and stuff every day, right? And various other things. You just can't keep up with it. It's fun to manage resources. It's not fun to try to manage severely depleted resources. Oh, it's awful. You have got to make such hard decisions, right? So say you pull new character. Say you pull a magic, right? You really want to work on her. You set some gold aside, training mats, whatever, and you got the gear. You got everything you want to do, right? But you pull no red stars on her. Do you still level her up? In today's game, you don't. You cannot survive in war or basically any mode unless you have like a minimum of like 3 to 4 red stars, right, on characters. You're just going to get blown over by other characters who do. And a lot of PvE content now has red stars built into it, so they're just hitting so hard the enemies are. So you cannot afford to build the characters that you want to build unless the stars align just right. So you have to have, A, the ability to probably farm the character. B, you have to have the resources to level that character. C, I guess you have to have the need or the want to level that character. And finally, D, did you pull red stars? You take all that magic Pythagoras theory there, right? And you put it together and you're like, this is really limiting on what you can do in this game, and gold is one like the crux problems, man. I should do a whole nother video on red stars. I mean, that basically is the problem right there. You either pull good red stars or you start spending money if you want to level a good new character, right? If you don't get lucky. We need more gold. This isn't, just update the gold orbs, take some of the costs out. There's been calls for this forever. And there's an argument against it by a lot of older players, but at least take the cost out of gearing, of equipping gear, and take the cost out of ranking up. And take the cost out of freaking any kind of leveling. Just take the gold cost out of it. This does not need to be there. And so you have this situation all the time, like I said, of not filling out the last couple stars on a character who is kind of on the edge of usefulness, right? Because you just can't afford to. That's not fun. It's terrible to sit there and see that blank and not be able to hit it. You could, but you're at the detriment of a lot of other things. Take that out of there. Now, the argument a lot of older players would say, well, that's not fair. I had to do that all that time. Well, that mentality will keep this system going forever, and you're still going to have to be paying it later on in the future. And don't foist that bad design on newer players just because you had to do it. Misery loves company, I'll understand. But, yeah, we need gold, and we need it desperately. Either you don't even have to give us more gold, just lower the cost of doing stuff a little bit. I know they want to sell you gold orbs. I know that. I realize that. But I don't think people are appreciating just how long it's going to take newer players to try to even hope to catch up. You have all these cool first year and second year characters who are basically almost useless anyway, but you might want to work on them, right? But you sure can't afford to as a new player. There's no way in Hades you could work on those year 1 and 2 players and hope to do all right, unless they get a serious rework all of them. I know the Spider-Man and all that and the other reworks, it's different, but we need gold, or we need reduced cost to do things. Why does it cost 240,000 gold to buy 4 miasmas? Come on, it's older stuff. They won't even let us farm it at least, right? But nope, don't do it. We got some 14s, but nothing else. 15s out there? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a rant here, but I was thinking about today, just how pitiful my roster is in a lot of ways, because you're kind of forced to build wide in a certain way, especially nowadays if you're wanting to get into Doom raids and like the Dark Dimensions, they force you to build wide nowadays. And of course, war, if you get pressure for war. I don't worry about war. Man, I want to bring a lot of these tunes up to 85. I really want to. I have my completionist. I want to finish it, but I just can't afford to do it. So, what say you? I know everyone complains about gold a lot. I'm not advocating for, free level 1 to 85, make people work and make decisions for it. But the decisions we have right now are bad. And players who put a lot of time, effort in this game, and even a lot of players that put a lot of money in this game, are just so starved for gold. It's really saps the fun out of a lot of what could be a great hero collector game. What better universe is there to pull video game characters out of than Marvel and collect them all. Collect your favorites. It's bad enough that the ones that you do collect you love are useless after a certain amount of time or close to it. But the fact is, if you pull a great character, like myself, my favorite character is Punisher, and I want to bring him up above 75 where I have him now, but I just can't justify it. There's no reason to do it. He does everything I need him to do. I only just use him on Skeletor right now. At his level, he's my favorite character in comics, and one of my favorite characters in fiction. I want to bring him to 85. I want to finish him. I started with this guy. I can't. I just can't do it. I need that money and resources for other things. So yes, it's a hero collector game that forces serious micromanagement resources, which is okay on its own, but you're just not given enough resources to work with. It's terrible, and it's not just for the free-to-play player, for those spending money, but it's especially and exponentially worse for the newer player. That hill is just too far to climb, and something needs to be done about it. So anyway, rant over. Let me know what you think in the comments below. How would you implement a new system for at least gold? What would you do to change the gold crunch that we're in? Will you lower prices of stuff, or will you just give us more of it? Don't want to cause inflation, but you know what I mean. Let's say you. What's your take on it? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And anyway, until next time, this is Genome, just wishing his uncle was Scrooge McDuck so he could buy some characters, I guess.